Hello, and welcome to the Life First Business podcast. I'm going to be talking about some of the really common mindset hurdles that new coaches face when they're starting their businesses, things that I see new coaches, clients of mine struggling with, and that I've struggled with myself when I was in the early stages of starting my first business. So I'm going to talk about what those are so you can build more awareness around them if they're affecting you, and then how to help yourself overcome them so that they don't keep holding you back in the early stages of your business, so that you can keep making progress in the right direction. One of the things I always talk to my clients about is that we hear about mindset a lot and how we need the right mindset in business, and it's true, but sometimes the focus can be too much on eradicating these thoughts and having a pressure on us to feel like I must never be thinking these things. I must never be having these thoughts of, self-doubt and fear and things like that. But we human beings, our brains are programmed to try and keep us safe all the time. And that's why a lot of these thoughts become problems for us. It's actually our brains trying to keep us safe, keep us in a place of comfort where we know we're safe, and doing things out of our comfort zone and doing things we've never done before makes our brain feel unsafe. And that's why we have these thoughts. We're never going to completely get rid of them. So take the pressure off yourself to never ever have these thoughts that I'm going to be talking through, but realize that in having an awareness of how those thoughts might be stopping you from taking actions, from carrying out the plans that you've put in place, the strategy that you are planning to take, whenever you're not taking the steps that you've planned out and you've said that you wanted to take, and you realize it's because maybe these thoughts are holding you back, having that awareness around it is a big step towards helping you overcome them. And then having some strategies in place to help you take action anyway, even though you're having these thoughts and beliefs, is really powerful, and it's going to help you keep moving forward. And it's only in taking action and in moving forward that we can start to really overcome some of those beliefs, because if we're just staying in the same place, they're not going to magically disappear. Yes, we can do things like affirmations to help us create new neural pathways and new beliefs and things, but actually the most powerful thing is actually taking action and showing yourself that I did this thing, I'm still safe, nothing bad happened, it wasn't scary in the end, and then the next time it doesn't feel difficult at all. When we do new things for the first time, they feel terrifying sometimes, and then when we have to do it a second time, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. So yeah, that's the first thing I want to say, is take the pressure off never having doubts and fears around things that you're doing in your business, and instead just try to practice that awareness around these mindset things and adopt some really practical strategies to help yourself overcome them. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we dive into that, I just want to say I'm recording this on the 11th of November. Last week was the election in the US. Obviously, I'm in New Zealand, I'm not in the US, but it did really affect me quite a lot. I felt really dark last week. I felt like there was this sort of cloud following me around. And I think for a lot of you listening who are also coaches, you may have experienced some of that yourself, especially if you're in the US. But even if you're not, I think we are naturally empaths, and that's what's led us into the coaching industry and into coaching as a role in the world. And one of the downsides of that is we can often take on a lot of the emotions of the things that we're seeing online, the things that we're hearing going on around us. And there are obviously ripple effects of that. It's not just something that affects the US. And yeah, if you were feeling that too, I just want to, say you're not alone. I was really struggling last week. It was affecting how well I could focus, and I just felt a bit dark. But I spent Saturday going to 2 events with other business owners. That really helped me a lot. I felt amazing just being around other women, being around other women who are making changes in the world, because I think we all know like the ramifications of this election. A lot of that is, on lots of groups of people, but it feels like a step back for women. And as a counter to that, I think that now more than ever is a time to believe in ourselves as women, that we can achieve the things that we want to do, that we can lift each other up, that we can come together and make change, a positive change, that we can spread kindness, spread joy, and empower each other alongside, wonderful men in our lives. I don't think we want to be thinking of this as a them and us kind of binary thing. And I think that's one of the big problems in the world at the moment. There's a lot of binary yes, no, whereas I think it's a good time for us all to, more than ever, empower each other and build communities of strong women and strong people who are wanting to make good change in the world. So yeah, just sending thoughts out to everyone at the moment. It's a funny time in the world, but yeah, I hope that in the communities that you're in and in the work that you're doing, you can find some hope and find some positives and feel some joy. But anyway, that aside, let's jump into thinking about some of these common mindset hurdles. So as I said, I've experienced all of these, and I've seen, even in conversations I've had over the last few days, I've seen them popping up time and time again with coaches who are new in business. So the first one I want to talk about is perfectionism. A lot of us have this feeling that we don't want to put something out into the world until we feel like it's perfect. And that, again, as I spoke about at the beginning, it's our brain trying to keep us safe. Perfectionism is another form of procrastination, that we can hold back on putting things out into the world because we're telling ourselves, oh, it needs to be perfect, it's not perfect yet. And that can hold you back from taking action because you're waiting for things to be just right, just perfect before letting anyone see it. And the reality is nothing is ever perfect. You are never going to feel 100% ready to launch something, to put yourself out there, whether that's, starting your social media or actually saying to people, I've launched my business. Perfectionism can hold you back big time. So I think it's important to realize when you're holding back from putting something out into the world, if it is perfectionism that's holding you back, to just get it out there and get it out there before it's 100% done, before it's perfect. Because you're never going to get to a point where you feel like it's 100% there. And spending excessive time fine-tuning things and tweaking them, it's just such a time suck. Your time is very precious, and taking messy action is such a big part of being a business owner. And I'm not saying, put things out there that you're nowhere near ready, but put them out there before they feel 100% ready, because honestly, they never will feel 100% ready, and they're always going to change. Once you start getting actual feedback from people and putting something out there into the world, you're always going to fine-tune it, you're always going to develop it, you're always going to tweak it. So get it out there before it feels 100% done, because it can hold you back for so long, and it's a really, really big one. Now, the second one I want to talk about is imposter syndrome. If you haven't heard of the term imposter syndrome before, this is when you might feel like you're not worthy of what you're doing, you're doubting yourself, maybe you're comparing yourself to other people, and you feel like you're an imposter in the situation you're in. And there's almost like this feeling of you're going to get found out, and people are going to say, what are you doing here? You're a fraud. It's a horrible feeling. I've struggled with it a lot through my career, particularly in my architecture career. And I think women can struggle with this more than men. I don't know the exact statistics, but I've definitely read that it is something that impacts women more than men. And you might have heard statistics before about how a woman will only apply for a job if she feels like she ticks like 95% of the boxes in the description, whereas a man will go for it if he's like 60% there. Again, don't quote me on the stats, but it's something like that. So women put a lot more pressure on themselves to be perfect. Again, that perfectionism, but in pressure on themselves to like know everything before they can put themselves forward for something. And that can really hold us back in coaching businesses, because we feel, obviously as a coach, you're having to show leadership, you are helping someone else, and it can hold coaches back a lot to feel like, well, I don't know everything, I'm not good enough yet, who am I to help this person? You have to remember that you only need to be a few steps ahead of your client in order to be able to help them. And actually, if you've been through something that they've been through quite recently, then you can relate to them a lot better than maybe a more experienced coach who wasn't where they are now for a long, long time. So don't see it as needing a certain number of years of experience and then saying, well, I'm not as good as someone that's been doing it for a long time, therefore I shouldn't do it at all. See the value in the experiences that you've had and just in the person that you are. If you have been advising your friends and you are someone that people comes to for help and advice or to listen to them, then you already are coaching people and you already are an amazing coach, and you are bringing that to your coaching clients as well. And it's not just about the knowledge that you have and the experience you have, but it's about holding space for your clients and being there to support them through the transformation you're helping them with. So take the pressure off yourself. The only way you're going to get to having that experience that you think that you need is by doing it. And so make a start and forward with confidence, knowing that you can help your clients and you don't need to have been doing it for decades to be able to help them. You do deserve a seat at the table. You do deserve to start your coaching business. And who you are looking at, who's been doing it for longer than you, were in the place you are now at some point. And just remember that. And again, like I was saying with the perfectionism thing and with the mindset stuff at the beginning, the only way you're going to start to get over that imposter syndrome is by taking action and proving to yourself that you can do it. It's not going to just magically disappear. You need to take action anyway. And again, this imposter syndrome particularly, I think, is one of those mindset things that is ingrained in us to keep us safe. If you've ever read the book, The Chimp Paradox, but that talks about how we have our human brain and our chimp brain and our computer, and the chimp brain is this in survival mode and it acts very impulsively and it's always there trying to kind of keep us safe. So it's kicking in to tell you, stay in your lane, stay where you are, stay safe, stay in your comfort zone. Your human brain is the logical brain that has goals and can see a future vision and knows where you want to get to. And those two parts of your brain are always kind of competing with each other, and you're only going to quieten the chimp by taking the action, and then the chimp will see, oh, okay, yeah, you did that thing and you're still safe, we're still okay, we can do it. So be aware that you're having that mindset, and it might be manifesting in self-doubt or comparing yourself to others and feeling like you're not good enough, but understand what that is and what that's actually trying to do for you, and take action anyway. Now, the third thing I often see coaches doing is trying to do it all alone, trying to piece all the pieces together from information that's out there. And in part, I think it's because of trying to make smart investments, which of course is very important in your business. You want to make smart investments, but you want investing in a way that you can move forward rather than thinking that you're making savings which are actually costing you in the long run. Because the longer something's taking you to achieve the outcome you want, the more it's costing you money. If it's stopping you from signing clients and actually making an income from your coaching business, it's costing you to try and do it on your own and piece it all together yourself. In doing this, you can miss opportunities for growth, and you've got to really look at investments in your business and support in your business as how quickly you're going to see that return on your investment and how quickly you're going to be able to get the result compared to doing it on your own. It's a tricky one because there's always something you can invest in your business. But what I see a lot of coaches doing is investing in things like brand design or a website or a brand shoot before they've actually got the strategy down, before they actually know who they're going to work with, what they're offering, and exactly how they're going to sell their offer and sign clients. The better way around to do it is to get that strategy down, so that you know how to sign clients and you don't need any of that other stuff before you can start signing clients. And then once you know you're bringing in income from those things, you can start to invest in building up your brand, in having your brand shoot, in getting your professional website done, all those things that cost a lot of money, but without the strategy underpinning them, they're not going to pay off. So that's what I help my clients with, and I'm going to stress that that's important, because I see it so often. Or I have conversations with aspiring coaches and they'll say, I'm going to be launching my business soon, and I say, oh yeah, what have you been working on, what's your plan? And they'll say, oh well, I'm working on my website, and once that's ready, I'm going to launch my business. launching a website is not the same as launching a business. And I made this mistake when I launched my first business. I spent months on my website. I had perfectionism around it. I was tweaking it. I was spending hours every evening. This was before I was a mum, and I could just while the evenings away tweaking this website. And I don't know whether in my head I just thought, well, once I press live on this website, there was going to be like a queue of people waiting to look at it. But it's just not the way it happens. Launching your website is not launching your business. And the way to launch your business is to get super clear on exactly what you're offering and get out there and start selling it and start having conversations with real people and getting people on board to work with you. And there's always low-hanging fruit. There's always people that are happy to work with you without looking at a big fancy website. I've been signing clients for 5 years in my first business, and so many of them never ever look at my website. They're referred to me and they've heard about me from somewhere else. They contact me, we have a meeting on Zoom, I go and meet with them in person, and then we're working together, and they never ever visit my website. So I'm not saying a website isn't a really valuable tool in your business. It really is, but it's not the be all and end all. You can sign clients before you've got that in place, and that's the best way of doing it, because once you've worked with a few clients and you're super clear on what you're offering, and you're super clear on the messaging behind your offer, and you're super clear on the words you need to use to sell it, you can create a website that's actually going to work really well for you. And you've got the income coming in so you can pay for it to be made for you. So yeah, trying to do it all alone or investing in the wrong things at the beginning of your business can hold you back for so long and keep you stuck in a place of procrastination and working on the things that aren't going to get you the results in the short term, and not doing things in the right order. Because if you create all those things up front, or you spend ages trying to piece everything together yourself, you're going to go round in circles for a while, and then you're going to come back to the same place where you need to redo them all again because they weren't quite hitting the mark the first time, because you didn't have the information you needed to be able to get them working right in the first place, whether that's your content strategy online, whether that's your website, your branding, your marketing and things like that. It's much better to get super clear on the foundations of your business, the things that are underpinning your brand, the things that are underpinning your offer, the exact messaging you need to be able to sell it to your ideal client, and then build those assets once you've got all that knowledge. So make smart investments in your business and make sure you're focusing on the right things, and don't feel like piecing it all together yourself and not investing in the right programs, the right courses, the right coaching to help you get it all created is a saving, because most of the time it's costing you a lot of money, because it's time where you could be working with clients and bringing in an income and doing the things that you love and learning the skills you need to be able to keep doing that over and over again, to be able to be bringing in the money. Yes, make smart investments in your business, but saving on support that's going to help you get results quicker is not smart. And then number 4, this is something I see a lot of coaches doing, and it's strategy hopping. What I'm talking about here is coming up with a niche, coming up with an offer, and then straight away flipping to something else because you feel that it's not working. Things take time. It takes time for clients to learn about you, to understand who you are, to understand what you do. You need to give things enough time. As I already mentioned, there's always going to be low-hanging fruit, people that don't need so long to be warmed up, and you can sign clients quickly. But on the whole, most people need to know about you for a significant amount of time before they're going to be ready to buy. And I think in a lot of coaches' minds, they're thinking, oh, I talked about my offer once or twice, nobody bought, it must be wrong, and I must need to go back to the drawing board and start again. And so they keep hopping from strategy to strategy, and that just confuses people and delays you making an impact even longer. But often you need to be persistent, and you need to give things time, and you need to understand what the expectation should be around that. Once you have the expectations that, yeah, this is taking time, you don't know who might be looking and seeing your stuff and thinking about it and are there in the background. They might not be shouting to you and saying, oh, hey, I'm seeing what you're doing and I quite like it and I'm probably going to be ready to buy from you in a couple of months. And before you know it, you've switched strategy and they never got that opportunity. But people need the time to grow the know, like, and trust in you, to think about your offer, and for it to hit the right time for them to be ready to buy. And that's just the nature of it. So please don't launch something out into the world and then straight away give up on it if you're not getting traction straight away. Give it time. Be persistent. Have resilience around it and understand that that's the process. You are building a business. It's not about quick wins. It's about building foundational stuff. And if you've taken the right approach to it and you've done it in a way that you know what you're building is aligned, yes, it's going to develop, it's going to get refined over time, but that's about incremental tweaks. It's not about flipping strategy to strategy. So have the right expectations around how long things take, how much you need to talk about something for people to understand what you do and to have had the time that they need to consider working with you and all those things, making sure it's the right time for them. It doesn't just happen overnight. You need to be persistent. You need to keep going and not keep flipping from strategy to strategy. I'm not talking about flogging a dead horse for a long time. I'm talking about giving good ideas and good strategies the time they need. So yeah, I hope those 4 things, if any of them are resonating for you, I hope this helps you to see that it's so common. These things affect most of us when we're starting businesses, and give yourself some grace. If you've never started a business before, it's such a steep learning curve, and for all of us that started businesses, we had to go through that learning curve and make a lot of mistakes along the way and overcome all these mindset hurdles. And you've already got to the point where you're thinking about starting your business, or you already have, which is way more than what most people ever do. So again, pat yourself on the back for that. See how far you've come. The fact that you're even considering doing this is huge. But yeah, don't beat yourself up around these things. Don't try and just think that you need to get rid of these mindsets and thoughts completely. They're never going to completely go away. It's normal to have doubts. It's normal to have fears. It's normal to be tentative and nervous, and it's normal to procrastinate at times. But when you've got a strategy in place and you've got a plan that you want to follow, whenever you're holding back from it, whenever you're not taking the actions that you know you've told yourself you need to do and you want to do, it's about having the strategies to help you move forward. And the awareness is the first thing. Having the plan and having the awareness, and then thinking of ways that you can take action. And a really good way of that is obviously having support. Having someone by your side who's keeping you accountable, who's helping you to see when these things are holding you back. A lot of the time when I'm on calls with clients, it's just a passing comment they'll make, and I'll go back to it and say, oh, hang on, that thing you just said there. And they won't have even realised that they've said it. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but I think I was talking with a client the other day who referred to the fact that when someone was paying for something, it was painful for them. And I was like, whoa, just go back to that. Why do you think it's painful for them if they're paying for it? These little things that can sometimes be subconsciously in our mind. If you're going around thinking, oh, it's painful for my clients if they have to pay for something, that's subconsciously, that's going to hold you back. It's going to affect the way that you're selling. It's going to affect the way that you're pricing. It's going to, if you're about to tell someone how much something costs and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be painful for them, that's very different than seeing it as like, this is amazing value for them and this is going to change their life, and this is the investment that it takes for that to happen. You're coming at something from 2 different places, and sometimes we're not even aware ourselves that those thoughts are in the back of their mind, whereas when you're talking with a coach, they can really help you pick these things out and then unpack them and change them and make sure that they're not holding you back and that you can actually see things a bit differently. And definitely the awareness of them is the biggest part of that. So yes, I hope that's really helped you to think about some of those things, if they are holding you back, how you can start taking action anyway, start moving forward and support yourself through it, and also find the right support for you to help you move forward. And that's it from me for this week. If you're enjoying these episodes, please get in touch. Head over to my Instagram, send me a DM, let me know that you're listening. If you've got a couple of minutes spare, I would love it if you would leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. That will help the podcast grow and get found by more people, or recommend it to a friend. And yeah, just thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. And don't forget, if you haven't already downloaded it, to get my free one-page client attraction blueprint. I'll include the link in the show notes as always, but you can download that. It comes with a mini training and it talks you through the exact 7 steps that you need to focus on when you're starting your business in order to get to a stage where you're filling your wait list with clients, and you're doing it in a strategic order and thinking about it based on your overall vision for your business. So get your hands on that if you haven't already, and have a great week. I'll speak to you next week.